You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Ian Johnson.
From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, and streaming live on Ustream, this is AfterBuzz TV for Desperate Housewives. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest Desperate Housewives news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, picking up where the show leaves off and the buzz continues, it's AfterBuzz TV for Desperate Housewives.
Hello, Desperate Housewives fans. I am Roxy Stryer, along with co-host Sarah Stratton. And in the booth, we have DJ Jesse Janity. Hello, hello.
What up?
So, happy early Halloween to everybody. We had a very spooky episode tonight. Can we agree that this was very Halloween appropriate?
I can agree that the burial part of it was appropriate, but I was really disappointed in the lack of costumes on the lane this year.
Although, where we would like to start by talking, the best costume I did see was Glinda, Susan Delfino.
Pulling off the blonde wig.
We were talking about last week how what all the different women would be and who we thought would have the best costume, and wah.
Yep, only really Susan there.
Just Susan, but she went balls to the wall and looked great as a blonde. I'm going to give it to her. I thought she was sexy.
I actually thought she pulled it off as well, and I like how I felt like this year was more focused on the kids' costumes than the adults' costumes, so I thought it was funny how she was the good witch, though, and her son was a robot.
Yeah.
Didn't you think she'd, like, match him?
Yeah, something like that. I think usually parents try to go as, like, the counterpart to whatever their kid is.
But Susan just went off in her own little world.
As if she was the kid dressing up. She is very childish sometimes. But okay, so about that for a second, there's this whole incident with Susan that's been going on for weeks where she's taking an art class with a guy named Jasper. And
I thought...
Isn't that his name? No. Jasper is the name of the son. With Andre. Andre is his name, right. His son's name's Jasper.
Very good.
Or if you can even call him his son. So Andre is a guy that Susan has been looking for his approval from day one. He's a famous artist. He's teaching this class. He's pretentious. He does what he wants, and she looks up to him. And finally, she has this revelation during tonight's episode. Listen, I've been trying so hard to get you to like me, and now I realize I don't like you. You're a crappy person. And I thought the most interesting part about this whole dynamic was his response to that kind of. In the end, he turns around and says, listen, my life, my goal, everything about me is art. That is what consumes me, and I really don't have time for anything else. Is that an accurate depiction of an artist's life? If art is your life, then does that always come first, and should that be the way it is?
And he also goes so far to say, as it's not really a choice. He mentioned that it can just happen to you. I think that some people make that almost like an excuse.
Yeah.
But I feel like children and life is supposed to be what inspires art. So how can you turn your back on it and still call yourself like an artist? Like, isn't art supposed to be about like experience and how you feel and what you see? Like, if you're shutting yourself off to everything, how far can you really grow or go?
100%. And he talks about how he sees pain in Susan and that he's going to pull it out of her. But how could she have pain if she had no feelings or relations? But also, I thought this was an interesting choice for a character because I do think there are a lot of people in the world who feel the same way Andre does. But I don't think there are a lot of people in the world who watch this show who feel the same way Andre does. So what audience were they trying to relate to there? Was he supposed to be the person everybody hates? Because I felt like they were trying to explain where he was coming from, and they were trying to make him more humanistic. When really, for me, for the people who watch the show, if really they could relate, they wouldn't be watching television. Does that make any sense?
I agree. I don't think that they're going to find too many Andre-type people watching Desperate Housewives.
So what was the point in putting in this character? Why did they add him to this final season?
The only thing I can really think of is having people who've encountered, like women who've encountered people who like diminish them for being moms or diminish their like dreams because they're a mom, or they have to go pick up their kid from soccer and then they go into like the work or into an area of passion. Someone's like, oh, you don't have time for this. You have other responsibilities.
Yeah, and I think they are trying to get people to understand more why that man is the way he is. Because it was interesting to me. I thought this was going to just be like, be able to brush it off, and they were going to put this character in, and Susan was going to convince him, you're right, I'm going to be the best dad, and that's what I'm going to be. But they didn't do that. And he kept saying...
He did say a little bit that he said
that he would try to be a better father. But he said, no matter what, my passion, my art's going to come first.
Yes.
And if that is really what somebody thinks, there's no changing that. There's nothing a person can do. So I guess what do you have to do at that point? Just find a certain respect for that kind of guy? Or do you hope that you can change him and that she can keep trying and maybe he will prioritize being a father more?
I think there's a point where you just have to accept that people can choose how they want to run their own lives, and it's not your responsibility to say that your way is right. So I might not agree with it because I feel bad for the kid who just wants to go trick-or-treating and
is reading books on how to prepare for nuclear attacks, which is hysterical. How old was that kid? 7?
Around. You know.
Like, what kind of kid? He's like, the people of Nagasaki never saw it coming. Scary. That's scary. Like, was he planning how to prepare in case he's hit or prepare to hit somebody?
Who knows? With what he is, I mean, his father's all about the darkness and the pain, so.
I loved that, how they had those, the juxtaposition of him saying about trick-or-treating, I'd rather you stab me with a knife, and then flashes to his dad saying the same thing. It's like, apple does not fall far from the tree for sure. For sure. But, okay, so we see the scene with Susan, and I'm glad that she finally came to the realization that it's not her, it's him. And that it's not her that's a not likable person. It's him who just is an asshole or a little more to him. That's not fair. I just kind of defended him for a little bit, and then I called him an asshole. I didn't mean it. But, okay, moving on anyway. So then we have a more humorous situation with Renee and the new boy on the block, Ben.
And this episode really focused on trying to amp up their chemistry, but still...
Which was bizarre because of what we've been seeing.
Girls, I hate to interrupt, but would you like to take a caller?
Oh, we would love to.
Carl, you're on the line. What's your name? Where are you from?
Hey, guys, this is Derek.
Oh, hello, Derek.
And I interrupted you midstream. You were about to talk about Renee and Ben.
Yes, we are. Is there anything you wanted to add about Susan and Andre, the not asshole artist or asshole artist, however you want to look at him?
You know, Susan, the only thing that I would love to add is, of course, everyone's seen the show by now. She looks great as a blonde.
That's what I was saying. She's a
Doesn't
sexy
she look
blonde.
good? I missed just the first few minutes of your show because for some reason my stream wasn't refreshing. So.
Oh, yeah. No, we were here. We were here thinking, damn, you go, girl. You rock that blonde
We
wig.
embraced the giant dress and Goldilocks curls.
It reminded me of the days of when she was housekeeping and wearing sexy little outfits.
I know. I miss that storyline a lot.
Okay,
but, you know, I was a little disappointed though that we didn't see any of the other housewives in costume.
Yeah, Sarah was talking about how we saw a lot more of the kids' costumes this year, and we didn't get to see what little slutty French maid Gabby outfit would become. Or
last year, who was it? Wasn't it Renee and
Marilyn Monroe
gay guys who like both dressed up as the same thing?
I even thought we saw previews that we were going to see people in costumes, but we didn't.
They just kind of failed on that point. Instead, we got an allergic.
Overall, I thought it was kind of a disappointing Halloween episode. You know.
Yeah, the only thing that I appreciated was it was a little more eerie. They tried to play down the comedy at some points and play up the creepiness, which was Halloween-esque, I suppose.
What did you guys think of Carlos at the AA meeting? Because I swear that guy is the Allstate guy.
You swear?
You know who I'm talking about when Carlos walks in the meeting? The guy's like, "Hey, welcome. The meeting's over, but do you want to talk to me?" Isn't that the guy who does those Allstate commercials?
That is not the Allstate guy.
I don't think it's
that is not the Allstate guy. It is not.
Okay, if it's not, then it's his son or his brother.
I see what you're saying. I think. I was like, what is he talking about? Allstate what? No, you mean like Allstate Insurance.
The commercial.
Yes, Allstate car insurance. I swear that's his guy. I'm calling my friend Scott, the casting director, to ask him if it's him.
Oh, you've got to call.
It is not him.
If it's him,
Trust
I stand corrected.
I've watched so much TV that I know all of those commercials. It is not him.
Okay.
That's
I'm
funny.
going to talk to Scott this week. We'll get to the bottom of this.
Okay, definitely. We'll know for next week. But anyway, moving on to a little bit for Renee and Ben. And the situation here, definitely the funniest part of the show. So Renee goes to get some, what was it, women's love potion?
From Chinatown.
Exactly.
From Chinatown. And this is the you better know what you're taking before you take it lesson of the show. Okay, I thought it would maybe be some simple syrup or some saline or something fake. What the hell was in this potion that she was allergic to?
Who knows? But really, she's going to take like 3 vials full?
As if she has a problem ever getting horny. She's
But
the one
you totally saw this coming, though, when she was standing in front of the mirror and she just kept, like, dumping more and more doses down her throat. We knew something bad was going to happen, right?
100%. We knew. But you know what I was thinking, but Sarah quickly corrected me. I thought that maybe she was going to take it and she was going to be making out with Ben and that Ben was going to have an allergic reaction and having to be like, what did you eat? What did you eat? And then she would have to tell him or something like that.
Oh.
But that's not what happened. Just as humorous, though, her face, oh my God.
Was great.
Was that was like the costume of the week, actually. It looked like Witch Gone Wrong.
She had like warts and all.
That was pretty killer. You know, years ago, Vanessa Williams was in this play in downtown L.A. at the Amundsen Theater. She was in Into the Woods, a Stephen Sondheim musical, and she played the role of the witch, and she was awesome in it. And that's what tonight's episode reminded me of when her face blew up like that, because you've got to admit, her nose was pretty messed up.
Oh, my God, definitely.
And definitely she deserves a call out for that because she was absolutely amazing. Like, that's a extremely difficult vocal role, I believe. Like, it's an intense musical.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just like talking. It's like singing.
Wait, Sarah, do you want to talk a little bit about the hospital scene when she was hiding under the bed? Sarah had a little story to share about hiding under the sheets.
So you know how Renee like hid under the sheets in the hospital?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was telling Roxy as we were watching this show today, that is me. I never realized how embarrassing it is.
It's her go-to
I
move.
watched someone else do it. But
Wait
I
a
do
minute.
that.
That is you, like, in what situation?
Like, I do that all the time in real life.
Like when I don't understand either. In what situation are you just talking to somebody and you just stick your head under the covers because you're embarrassed?
Yeah.
Like with a boy?
Oh, like whenever I'm having like a serious conversation and I'm like in bed, all of a sudden if I feel like I need to say something that's too revealing about myself, or if I get nervous, I just curl up in a ball under my covers.
One of the many endearing
Sarah.
qualities.
Yes.
That's
and
sweet.
No, it's not. I watched it on this episode and I went, wow, I look retarded.
You know what? I kind of liked seeing Renee do this though, and
Me too.
I thought it was cool because she her character, we're so accustomed to her being so overly confident, so sexual. Even I'm at my mom's house tonight in Salt Lake City. Even my mom walked in the room and she was like, "Oh my gosh, this show is risque," because Renee talks about having sex on the first date. But I sort of liked it when the episode wrapped up and she was in the hospital bed covering her face with a sheet. Have we ever really seen that side of Renee before, except when she was talking about being abused when she was younger?
I was just about to say the only time we ever see it is when she's talking about her past, and she's trying so hard to always run from her past and hide from it that you very rarely see embarrassed Renee or self-conscious Renee. So I liked this a lot too. I agree, totally.
And I thought it was cute that they ended up cuddling.
Yeah.
That was sweet.
But what do we think about the chemistry that we were seeing between Ben and Bree? And was that just a fluke, or I thought that was going to pick up way quicker, but now we see him being more into Renee. What's going on there?
I was so confused. Like, the other episode, I totally saw their chemistry building when she was, like, talking in the boardroom. And then today, when she threw eggs at his house, it was like there was no chemistry at all. And then he was totally going for Renee. And I was like, was that other episode, like, a mistake? Did they not realize it was coming off that
flirty?
way?
I don't know.
Or it was just really weird. And it was so focused. Each episode, like this one's so focused on Renee, and the other one was so focused on Bree. I can't figure out what they're trying to say.
What do you think about that, Derek?
Well, I don't know, because I share your confusion, and this Renee-Ben situation, I think, seems totally contrived. I mean, to me, it doesn't seem like they have any chemistry at all, but maybe that's because Renee has been so heavy-handed. She's so aggressive with him that it's never seemed like he could even possibly be attracted to her.
I agree. I think it would work better if he was more of a pushover, but he's not, and she's so aggressive with him, but he's also a very manly man, so I don't really see the chemistry, and all of a sudden in tonight's episode when they both say, well, I like you, well, I like you too, I was kind of like, well, I don't like you guys together, so what's going on?
I was thinking about this a little, and as much as I want Renee to have someone stable and be in a relationship, because I think it's an interesting way for her to go, I could never see them functioning for like more than a week as a couple.
Totally. I totally agree. But it was a cute scene, at least. I appreciated what they were trying to do. The chemistry just isn't there for me yet. Yeah. Okay, so...
Yeah, I hope we don't have to see that relationship develop, because I'm bored with it before it even started.
I know, I feel you. But speaking of relationships, moving on to one that is falling apart, Lynette and Tom's, and this new girl, Jane, I believe her name is, Jane. Okay, so we see this scenario where Penny, Lynette and Tom's daughter, is getting dressed up for Halloween, and, Penny just wants to be this swan. She wants this swan costume that she says Jane can help her make. But Lynette, being the woman she is, refuses to let her take part in this and says she's going to make a costume. Okay, that's the first problem with this. Lynette doesn't sew. As far as Halloween costume goes, she can cut holes in sheets for eyes, and that's a ghost for her. What was she thinking here? What the hell was going on? Why did she think she could accomplish this?
Okay, when I was watching this, I thought it was completely inappropriate for Jane, or this new woman, to volunteer to be the costume maker for her brand new boyfriend's daughter's Halloween costume.
Right.
Like, I just think that's over the line. Like, maybe it's because I came from a family where my mom did make my Halloween costumes, and Lynette, if she wants to cut a hole in sheets, or if she just wants to buy a costume from somewhere, like,
she should be able to buy one, whatever.
She should be able to do it.
So Jane, I didn't understand it until this episode that Jane and Tom, I guess, are officially seeing each other. That before he was just calling it coffee or dinner, so they're dating now. And
yeah, that was kind of a super fast transition.
Yeah, very fast. But he's still in counseling with Lynette.
I think so. I haven't seen them say that they're no longer.
So how do we feel about the fact that finally, when Jane was being friendly to Lynette and offering to help with this skirt that supposedly Lynette had made, wink, wink, how do we feel about when Lynette said, if you're helping me with this favor, do you mind helping me with one more? Stop seeing my husband.
Oh, see, I'm dying to know what you two think about this, because this was like, I guess we should have seen this coming, because that's such a Lynette thing to do. But I have mixed feelings about this. I can't really decide what to make of it.
Yeah, I agree. Sarah, you're going to have to start us off here.
Okay, well...
Right, so...
Or Jesse can start us off.
Did you want to talk about it?
No, Jesse.
Nope,
it was a fluke. Go on ahead, Sarah.
Jesse thought he had something to say, and then... Anyway.
Wait, is that Jesse in the studio tonight?
Yes, he is.
Hey, Jesse.
He's saying hi to you.
I don't know. Jesse's doing some weird... He's probably Halloween planning or something in there. Okay, go ahead, Sarah.
So, my opinion on this conversation that Lynette and Jane had was... Part of me was like, what are you doing, Lynette? Like, you can't just barge in there. But if Tom finds out, he's going to so angry at you, you know, like, but at the same
time. If Tom finds out what you asked?
Yes. Like, if she goes downstairs and goes, I can't be around her, she just told me to leave you alone, then Tom would flip out. But what was going to happen? They were going to become friends? Like, that was going to hurt Lynette. I think Lynette kind of saw it as she needed to, if she was going to say something, she might as well get it off her chest now and not try and, like, beat around the bush.
I thought
it was aggressive.
If Lynette was going to be strategic about it and go with the whole friend route, she should have said, oh, yeah, you're right. I think we're the kind of girls who could be friends. You know what? I feel like we have a lot to catch up on. Let's get coffee this week, you know, and try to guilt her into it more. That would have been conniving, but that would have made more sense. For her to just straight up off the bat say, you're helping me with this, why don't you stop seeing my husband? It was very forward, but I can't say I blame her.
But the fact is, though, those two ladies are not friends.
Yeah.
And it's not, you know, if you had put someone else into that situation, Jane's situation, you said her name is?
Yeah.
If it had been like Gabby's character or Susan or one of the other friends on the lane, then it makes sense to say, like, hey, this is our friendship and you need to keep your hands off my man.
Right.
I feel like I'm watching a Big Brother episode right now, because that's what all of those girls say. But and initially when I heard that statement, I thought, yeah, go Lynette, like you let her know. But then afterward, I thought, you know what, Jane really, like, we don't know much about her. She's sort of an innocent bystander, and I don't know. I think I sort of side with Jane and feel like that was an inappropriate comment.
It's weird because mine was the exact opposite. The second I was watching it, I was like, oh my God, Lynette, you are so out of line. What are you doing? This poor woman is up here. But then I stepped back and thought about it and was like, put yourself in her position. Put yourself in her shoes for a second. She's desperate. She's doing everything to save her marriage. And who the hell is this Jane woman? And what the hell does Jane want with Tom? They barely know each other. I mean, so I don't know. I kind of flipped it.
I'm kind of siding with that side too, because for Lynette, she's fighting for her husband and for the father of, like, her 5 children.
For her family.
If she can put a seed of doubt in some woman who's been around for a week's head, like, even just to be like, look, I'm going to fight for him. You need to know that you're about to ruin something. Just that little seed of, like, in a way, guilt.
I agree.
Maybe she'll back off a little bit.
I agree.
And there's a little... You don't want her to get comfortable and invite her completely into her family and make it easy for her to assimilate if it's just going to end up destroying the marriage completely.
Yeah. What did you guys think about the little cat costume? In my opinion, minus the whip, I didn't think it was provocative enough. I wish that they had gone, like, way over the top, had it be like a little bra and a little mini skirt and the whip and something completely dominatrix and leather. It was
I agree with you.
I mean, it was a
I
little
thought it
slutty.
was a little conservative.
Exactly, and I kind of was like, wow, they could have played this scene up to the most extreme. It could have been hysterical, but instead it was like, it was questionable.
I think the job of the whip is what, you know, put it over the top, having the whip there. But all I could keep thinking, though, is when they said, oh, are you sure a skirt didn't come with that? I was thinking, no, a skirt's going to ruin that outfit.
Yeah.
It's just like a pair of simple black tights. Don't destroy it. It's kind of cool.
Oh, yeah.
But she is 13 years old.
That's awesome, definitely. Oh, how is she, 13?
Something like that, right? I mean, she's like early junior high age.
Yeah, I guess so, but I don't know. I was looking. My sister is 15, and I'm looking at pictures of her and her friend from Halloween, and this costume wasn't that far off. I will say. I don't know whether that's a comment more on the show or my sister, though.
Well, listen, I'm going to let you two ladies wrap up this show. I'm going to jump off the line. It's after midnight where I am, but the one last thing that I do want to add, and maybe you discussed this at the top of the show and I missed it. What did y'all think of Juanita's costume?
Oh, the egg.
The giant egg.
I will tell you that this costume is sitting in my apartment right now.
Come on.
I swear to gosh. It is sitting there, worn by my roommate. So I thought that alone was hilarious. But yeah, I enjoyed it.
You have got to be kidding me. I thought it was probably a custom-made deal for Juanita, and I thought, poor Juanita. Like, why are they always picking on her and, like, sort of featuring her
I'm shocked that Gabby would let her children wear bacon and eggs.
Yes, that was what I was going to say. I was like, wouldn't you expect Gabby to be like, no, we're going to make this girly or something?
I know. Well, anyway, thank you so much for calling in, Derek, and have a happy Halloween tomorrow. You've got big plans yourself, don't you?
Yeah, my little nieces Bella and London, we're going to go trick-or-treating here, and somehow I need to come up with a cow costume because Bella is obsessed with cows, and I know, it's not sexy, but it's practical in this cold weather.
Well, if worse comes to worse, you can just call Lynette and ask if she can sew one up for you real quick.
Exactly. I hear she knows a good mail order service.
Exactly. Okay, well, good night, sweet dreams.
Okay, girls, have fun. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, so we've covered almost everything except for the one huge thing, the way the show picks up and the way it leaves us. Okay, so this is the body. This is the whole season so far. We start the episode with Bree and Gabby and Lynette, and they are standing over what we can all assume is an empty grave. And sure enough, by the end of the episode, we see that it is. Okay, what the hell happened here? We can get into little details, but I just want to jump right into it. What is going on? There's nobody in the grave, and we see them try to get frogs. We see them try to sabotage the fact that this is soon to be dug up, but now it's dug up. What happened?
Really, I think that it has to be the person who left the note. They have to be the person who dug it up. Because it's a grave. They knew exactly where it was. It was pretty clear cut. And obviously none of the women knew about it. So I don't think it was any of their husbands, even though the guy chasing them with the flashlight looked like Tom. I think it has to be the person who left the note in Bree's mailbox saying that they knew what she did.
What do you think the possibilities are that it was Carlos or Mike?
I think Carlos is a little too consumed, with his guilt right now, that he wasn't thinking about doing that.
I guess it's getting a little into predictions, except it's not predicting because it's already happened. You know what I mean? But I don't know. My theory maybe was after Susan told Mike, maybe he realized he already has all this guilt on his hands. He can't let his wife get caught. She told him exactly where it is. Maybe he went and dealt with it.
Maybe.
Something like that.
But I feel like if it was Mike, he would have put in all the dirt.
Yeah, that was sketchy.
They just left all the dirt out. It obviously in the shape of a large rectangle.
Maybe they're going to go fill it back in tomorrow. But not with the contractors. But what did you think about this storyline so far? How are you feeling about it? Are you getting sick of it, or do you think it's nice carrying us through the season?
I think next week they're going to have to give us another big hint or another suspect about who left the note or about who has the body. Because it's kind of dying for me.
Okay.
I'm not too happy with it.
Okay. Fair enough. I think we can skip ahead and jump into, I don't know if we have news and gossip for this week. No, we don't, because we don't want any right now. We just want to skip right ahead into prediction.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Okay, so basically we just covered a lot of who we thought maybe dug up the grave, but how are we going to find this out next episode, next week, or it's going to drag on?
It's going to drag on. I do not think we're finding out who did this next week. I think we're going to deal with a huge mess of Bree still trying to something with the contractors. I don't think they've been dragging out for so many episodes and we found out so little in these episodes. I don't think they're just going to lay it all out there next week.
We didn't see much in scenes to come. We didn't see much. We did see a little bit of Bree with the detective. Who do we want him to come back into the season a lot more? I kind of missed their relationship. I liked them together. I kind of hope that maybe she confides in him and he can help them out.
I'm fine if he comes back and is normal. If he's that crazy eyes guy,
which is what I'm guessing he will be instead.
I'm gonna get annoyed.
I totally agree. We also see a little bit more of Jane overstepping her boundaries,
which is inappropriate.
Where do we think that's gonna go? Is Tom gonna cut the kibosh on that, or is he gonna let it go a little further?
I think it might be a cat fight.
It's about to be a what? Girl fight. Yeah, I kind of am agreeing with you there. What about the fact that they didn't have Susan come with them to the grave?
Oh, yes, they mentioned a little bit of it seemed like they were mentioning almost like a rift cutting in between Susan and the girls.
Yeah.
Do you think that's an art thing or a grave thing?
I think they're going to make it an art thing.
Okay.
Something like that. I think that this episode, talking to Andre the artist, was a little bit of foreshadowing of what Susan's life might start to look like, unfortunately. Which wouldn't work if we had many more seasons, but might work.
I think that's going to be very difficult for them to pull off.
I mean, I think so,
They've spent the last season and a half making Susan into a lamb. I don't think she can just flip and become like a soulless being or something.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I'm not sure, though. I really don't know where they're going with that. What about Carlos and the alcohol? And Gabby just brushing it off every time.
That is going to continue and get way worse. He's going to let something out or do something way worse than walking into an auditorium with Gabby's friends just being
Is the Allstate guy going to come back? Whoever he is. As a sponsor?
Well, since the Allstate guy has never been in it.
Well, you know what I mean. Will he be, is that going to be Carlos' sponsor and he's going to get the help he needs and everything will turn out fine?
I think he's going to be a new character. They made a little bit of too big of a deal out of it.
Nothing.
Yes.
Okay. So I think that's about all we were given, and we can wrap it up there unless you have any other last-minute predictions.
This is the last Halloween episode of Desperate Housewives.
I know. I think that they owe us like a Valentine's Day special where everybody dresses up Halloween-y or New Year's or something. Christmas, something. Okay, we can hope for that. Well, thank you for listening, and thank you very much, Derek, for calling in. Happy Halloween to everybody. I hope you dress up extremely well to make up for the lack of dresses on tonight's episode. And take it away, Jesse. Thank you.
From producers Kevin Undergaro and Phil Svitek, engineer DJ Jesse Janity, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. If you have questions or comments, be sure to buzz us at info@AfterBuzzTV.com. And you can find us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter by searching for AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
AfterBuzz. The views expressed herein are those of the host only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.